Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Tool Use. This week, we're going to be showing you how to save time with AI tools. We're going to be showing you a way to get through your never-ending reading list, a way to get a computer to actually do work for you, and we're going to be sharing a project that we've been working hard on to save you a ton of time for using our AI tools, as well as building your own. We're really excited about it, spending a lot of time on it, so please stick around to the end. If it's your first time joining, Tool Use is a weekly conversation about helpful AI tools where we teach you what is possible today by giving you real examples we put together. We also talk to other AI tool makers to share their perspective, experiences, and help spread the knowledge. But this week, after 8 weeks of talking to guests, which we've had a ton of fun with, we're going back to the old school. We're going to have just Mike and Ty talking about some stuff, sharing our experiences with you, and trying to have a good time with it. So, Ty, as always, it's a pleasure. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm kind of excited for this. I mean, I love talking to guests. It's been really fun, but yeah, part of me misses the old days a little bit where we can just kind of, jive and make cool demos and kind of have fun. I'm looking forward to it today.
Yeah, man, it's been really good having them come on, share their stuff. We've learned a lot, but yeah, the whole reason we did this was so we could just chat and hang out and spread the love that way. So glad we can get back to it this way.
I'm really excited to showcase something that we've been building for quite some time now, but I kind of want to hand it over to Mike to really build it up for us here. What do you got for us, Mike?
So I'm thrilled to announce that we are putting out the Tool Use Pip package. Now, what we want to do with this is twofold. We want to be able to allow people to more rapidly use the tools that we demonstrate on the show right in their terminal, nice and easy, as well as be able to build their own tools faster. Now, we're also throwing in a little bit extra that we'll tell you at the end. But for this, we just wanted to showcase a couple quick demos so you'll know what you'll get when you pip install Tool Use AI. So you might remember from episode 3, back with Two Dog. Oh, the first time with a guest, lovely times, where we had the Obsidian plugin generator. So now, once you install Tool Use AI, you can actually just run AI, make Obsidian plugin, and then the name of the plugin. Now, I'm not going to do tests. I'm going to do a real one. I'm going to do new episode. And when you run it, you go through the classic Obsidian plugin generator theme. So the reason I want to make this plugin is because when we make a new episode, we use Obsidian as our knowledge store. So we have a directory of notes and other things that we like to keep organized in the directory. But every time I have to right-click, make a new directory, name it the same as the old one, add the note file to it, all of those annoying things. So let me just put in a path to the test vault, and then you give a description. So we'll just do exactly what I said. I would like a plugin where once I run a command from the command palette, it will generate a new directory that is incrementing the name of the previous directory by 1, and the naming convention will be capital E, lowercase p, underscore, number. I think that's a good enough description for it. So you give it a natural language description of what you want the plugin to do, and then it'll ask you a few questions. How should the plugin handle cases where there isn't a previous directory, such as when it's running a new Obsidian vault? Create episode 01, EP_01. And the good thing is these questions are generated by AI, so they're always different, but always relevant to your desired plugin. How will the plugin determine what is the previous directory to increment? Look within the episodes directory. So I plan on structuring it. There's an episodes directory, and within it, there's one directory for each one. What should be done if there are multiple directories with a similar naming conventions? That will not be the case because you will only create ones that follow my naming convention. So the 3 questions are done. It'll generate the plugin code. It takes a moment because it's cloning down the sample repo from GitHub, so you have the most up-to-date Obsidian plugin example, as well as going to give you actual code to do it. So when I can see, we have this new plugin created, and then these are the instructions to run it. Now, I'm going to skip through the process of actually doing the build, but I'll show you the end product. So this is the Obsidian Vault, and we have now added the plugin to it. So all I had to do was follow the instructions there. There were actually no changes. It's output the code in 1, so let's make sure this works. So open up the command palette, and then we'll go to a new episode. And just like that, it creates episode 3 with an empty notes directory, exactly what I wanted. Let's just validate, can never be too sure with testing. In palette, episode 4 with notes. So even though there's a small little thing, I just saved myself the time of having to go through the process with the potential of human error of creating a new directory, adding a new file every time. I can just tell it make a new note. And if I want to add more things, say I want to template the note file, or I want to add a new directory for AI summaries and whatnot, I can just update that plugin now. And using tools that we've explored like Cursor, Claude, and whatnot, you're able to rapidly be able to get these changes in. So that's the first little tool that's going to save people time. And I do recommend Obsidian for using a knowledge store. File over apps is a principle that we adhere to, and we hope you do as well.
I wonder how much you can push it if you make some like really crazy Obsidian plugins or not. I bet it would try.
Yeah. And I wanted to work on the prompt to give it more examples of access to the documentation where it's able to actually pull different components and what I can use, because when I tried to get really complex with it before, it would sometimes have syntax errors or it would hallucinate what type of components exist. But I'm also using Llama 70B served via Grok. That's why it was so speedy. If you hook it up to, even if we can get it to like O1 preview or O1 and it comes out, so it's able to really think things through. I don't know, there's a lot that can be done with it. But even as of now, if you're looking for a really quick plugin, not something you're looking to make money off of, just something to help as a utility to make your Obsidian use easier, this will one-shot it. Maybe two-shot. You might need to do a little extra testing, but it's been great so far.
How cool is it that you can just type AI and then run a script in your terminal? So one of the primary reason we really wanted to do this was like all of our code for the demos we've been making so far is kind of spread out all over the place. And I'm guilty. Sometimes I forget to upload my code from the demos and things. And so from here on out, I think we're going to be like making our demos inside of the pip package in these scripts, so that if any of you guys want to try it, you just, so long as you have the pip package installed, you just run AI, name of the package or name of the script, and then it just runs. So I think it's going to be the easiest way for you to test out some of the things that we build. And there's some other cool little goodies coming up, but I won't spoil it yet.
Yeah. And with it being open source, submit your own tools. If you have something that you're proud of that you want more people to get access to, all people need to do now is pip install Tool Use AI. Once they run that command, they'll get this on their computer. Ty's done a brilliant job setting up the architecture where it's not going to overload you with dependencies unless you actually use the scripts. So it's being done in a great way. Do you have one you want to show us, Ty?
I do. All right. Well, my favorite demo that I ever made was the convert anything, because I just think it's super powerful. The idea of converting literally anything to literally anything. Okay, maybe not physical stuff. We're talking digital, but still like converting images to other images types, converting text to other text, converting emojis into images. I mean, anything really. So super fun. I'll just give it a little showcase of what it can do. I'll do like AI convert, and then I'll add a string here, and then I'm going to just drag in my directory full of JPEG images to PNG. Oh, and reduce file size 70%. Really give it a Hail Mary prompt here and see if it can handle it. But it should be able to handle it. So, of course, this is using Open Interpreter under the hood. It just showcased all the different files that are in there. Yep, 4 file in this. There it goes. Off to the races. It's just doing it in a loop. The beauty of Open Interpreter. Wow, look at it go. It just keeps on going. So I think this is going to run for every single image. So this might take a little while. So I might cancel this so it doesn't go for too long. But yeah, I mean, like this will go through an entire folder of images and just keep on going. And the cool thing too is like this is not using extra tokens, right? Like this is just, it wrote a loop in code, took in the file path, and just ran it. And so once this is all outputted, I have hundreds of images that were converted to the right file type, were reduced in size, and you can even do other cool things too. I mean, like you can make them grayscale, you could add a black border around it, you could do all sorts of things because it has access to the whole Python ecosystem, right, with Open Interpreter. So I don't know, it's a really interesting tool. I would love for people to try it out and to really test the limits of it and see what you can convert. Just try something a little more fun. AI convert this message to something less passive aggressive. All right, so I have this this little demo message I had Claude made, which is kind of hilarious if you read it, if you pause the video and read it, but I'm not going to read it all out because it's kind of wild. And then I'm going to hit convert. Okay, so now it's just going to, I mean, this is simple. You could have it do this in a standard thing, but boom, now it made something that's actually not going to get you fired. So kind of interesting.
So professional.
I know, right? I mean, it went from It went from, hey boss, just loving how I had to submit my grandmother's birth certificate, a blood sample, and perform a ritual sacrifice to get a single day off. Claude went wild with that, but now it actually made something a little bit more standard for time off. But anyway, kind of interesting. I really hope you guys try it out and do something interesting with it and tag us on Twitter, because there's some cool stuff that I can do.
And just being able to just type in AI convert and then what you want it to do. That's so cool. This is just a process you can have running as you do other things. You don't have to sit there and wait for it to loop through the whole thing. And file conversion is really quick with this script, but it's actually going through the process of reducing every single image size, which is nuts.
Crazy. I mean, like, to do that manually would take hours, to go through every single image and upload it to some weird website that does file conversion and then upload it to something that does, reducing file sizes. So pretty cool. I think, especially if you're in a creative field of like a photographer or a graphic designer or something, and you have a lot of bulk files to manipulate, there's no better tool. And I stand by that.
Yeah. And I would be surprised, just convert from file to file with watermark on it. And then it'll just go through the entire directory, throw your watermark in the corner. And the thing is, a lot of these services are services people pay for. And like you said, it's just the tokens to get the initial script, and then the script's running on your computer, not charging any more money, just, using the compute you already have.
Super neat. And also, like you touched on already, Mike, like that uses Open Interpreter under the hood, which does have some dependencies to it. But like if you install Tool Use AI, it's only going to install the things it really needs. And then when you run the script for the first time, it'll install the things that script needs. So that way we can build some really complex, crazy demos with a bunch of different packages, and it doesn't make it a gigantic package you have to download. So
totally. Now, I feel like your demo is a lot more widely applicable than mine. So I want to show one more, because I can't be shown up this quickly.
All right. Take it from here, bud.
So yours is great for converting things, but I still want to use the terminal and the inherent capabilities of the terminal. So one that I used back in the day, which is still one of my most frequently used tools, was being able to use AI to tell you the terminal syntax to be able to do a command. So what I've set up is just AI do, and then something really cool. And then you just tell it what you want it to do. So let's say create a new directory called test, and then send that through, and then it'll give you the commands, hit enter. And then all of a sudden you have a new directory called test. You can do a little more complex stuff. So AI do list the running processes. You give the command, and there's all the processes.
Cool.
So all you're able to do is tell the AI to do something, and then you tell it what you want to do, and they'll output the terminal commands. So this is one of those things where, as people are involved with the terminal more, they're not going to remember everything. So this will just help them tell the AI what to do.
Oh, that's wild. Super cool. Great demo.
I think it's just going to be one of those things that helps people out. Even though we're going to be transitioning to a lot more AI type interfaces, I think there'll always be a need for people to get down to the terminal and actually, get as close to the metal as they can and run commands. So, this will help out, at least during the transition period.
100%. Super cool. All right. I want to show off one more thing.
Okay.
Just one more thing. The classic Steve Jobs. All right. Another cool thing that I, for some reason, decided to add is if you just run Tool Use in your terminal, you should get a little table of all the episodes we've ever made and be able to select an episode like, let's do this one. And then you can play it in Spotify, you can watch it on YouTube, or you can actually just play the MP3 right in your command line, which is pretty crazy. And boom, there it goes.
Like, why are you spending your time doing this? Like,
it's actually just playing the MP3 right in your terminal right there. I mean, I would prefer if you guys go onto YouTube to give us the views, but hey, if you want to listen to these through the terminal, I'm not going to tell you not to. So, but it shows you all the new episodes and where to watch them and where to click on them, and kind of interesting. And one last cool thing that I want to show off that I think is kind of fun, and I think we've been thinking about this for a while and how we want to make this podcast a little more interactive, but we made something called Tool Use Contact. And then it's a little contact form, essentially. It's nothing too crazy, but it's all through the CLI. So if you ever want to contact us, you got it through the CLI. We read your YouTube comments. We read your Twitter comments. Yeah. But like, if you want to get right to us, boom, you can request a guest, which could also be yourself. So if you're an ambitious builder that's building cool things and wants to be on the show, hit request a guest here and, request yourself. Request a topic. You can request a topic for us to cover, a theme of an episode or whatever. Provide feedback. If if I'm repeating myself too much, or if I'm, mumbling like I am now, provide some feedback. Tell me I'm doing a terrible job. Or you can just say hi. I added that in there just because it's fun. And then enter your email. I just doxed myself. That's okay. And boom, we will get the submission and we can get right back to you. So if you provide your email, we can get back to you if you want to get back to, or just submit your submit your feedback anonymously if you'd rather. If you want to hide behind that, that's totally okay. I get it. But yeah, so that's kind of a cool thing. So request a guest, request a topic, send feedback, just say hi.
Ty, that's super cool. Thank you for putting that together.
I just want people to be I would love it to be a little more interactive. If there's a topic that people want us to talk about, and it also makes our job easier. We don't have to think about all the content we have to cover every week. So make our jobs easier, please.
Yeah, help us help you.
Yeah, exactly. Should we show off your demo first?
Yeah, I'll dive into it. So by now, I'm sure most people have heard of NotebookLM. Well, I came across this one way of using it, which I actually found very valuable. So in this industry, there are tons of papers being shared around. I actually saw this one tweet where someone put together 130,000 papers. So you have all the data accessible that you can use training your models or using as context. But sometimes I want to just really ingest it and understand myself. The problem is with so many, I don't know which ones I want to go with. So what I found is if you upload a paper, in this case, I uploaded the automating agentic workflow generation paper, you can actually have a 10-minute summary done. So instead of a 28-page paper, you upload the PDF, get a couple extra links, and then it'll put together a 10-minute summary, which is really consumable. And what I love this is when I'm reading it, that's 100% my focus. That takes my attention and my time. That is what I'm doing. But when it's converted to audio form, I can listen to it when I drive. I can listen to it when I cook. So just by going through this way, I'm able to multitask and accomplish something, and just to have that initial filter. If I'm listening to this for 5 minutes, I realize that this isn't a topic I'm interested in, or it's something that's not going to add value to my day, I can just put it aside, and that'll save me the time investment of having to go through an actual paper. NotebookLM has a ton of value to it, but this one particular usage I found has been the biggest time saver so far. Ty, have you had a chance to use NotebookLM?
I really haven't. I need to go play with it. Everything about it seems really cool. I just it's kind of already automating our podcast away, so I feel a little weird about it. But I mean, I do have so many papers that I want to get through, and it seems like a really good way to do it. I bet you could even throw multiple papers in there and have it give a little bit of a summary and have them compare and contrast, and it's a really interesting concept.
For sure. I've heard people use it for they dump in their About Us page from their company or their personal bio and just be like, how would an AI consume this? Because as we start realizing that all web traffic, all digital traffic is going to be partially human, partially agentic, where does it pick up? What details does it put together that maybe you don't want out there? Or maybe there's a clear gap in its understanding that you want to supplement. So it's almost a way to do a proof check for how AIs are going to consume your stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things. I don't view them as a competitor yet, but it's more of a complementary tool, but still got to keep an eye on them.
That makes sense. I saw a Twitter demo not too long ago that was about NotebookLM, and it was a girl that put all of her journal entries into it or something like that, and was having a really bad day and felt kind of depressed, and so she put her journal entries into it, and then it had two podcasters cheering her on and showcasing all of the good things she's done, and there's a lot of creative use cases for it out there, so it doesn't have to just be AI content or deeply educational content. I mean, you can have these things have a conversation about different hardships in your life, or strengths and weaknesses that you have. Or I'm really excited to see what other people are using with it. There should be more Twitter demos around it for sure.
Yeah, and it's so steerable now too that you can do all of these things and really tweak it, so you don't have to just take a shot in the dark and hopefully it gives you what you want. Just steer in a certain direction, accomplish your goal. And it's audio. There also is text, so if you want to read something, sure. But I think for time saving, the ability to multitask is huge for me.
Makes sense. I love listening to things on my drives. I usually just put a YouTube video on, but this might make it better. I wish they had an app. Do they have an iPhone app or anything? Probably not.
Not sure. Something to look into. I know you can share it, so maybe you can just share it to a browser and then have that running. But yeah, something to explore. And yeah, being as rural as I am, everything is an hour drive away. So I'm either crushing podcasts or ebooks. So getting something where I can actually tailor it. Because I thought it'd be cool to take these papers and feed it into 11 Labs and have it narrate the whole thing. But that gets dry really quick. When it's going through tables and examples, you have to do so much editing ahead of time. But this kind of abstracts that away. So instead of you saying, a lot of prompting. You're kind of just giving it the contents that it will summarize and then giving it a general direction. So it saves time in just getting the initial process kicked off.
The most interesting thing about it to me too is how good the audio is. I mean, like just putting it through 11 labs, and like no shade to 11 labs, but most like text to speech right now is very, very AI and very robotic. It's very kind of hard to listen to some degree. So like NotebookLM and having the two podcasts or something about it, they really nailed the kind of human feel, the human vibe of two podcasters kind of having a conversation about something. So I think that's the reason I'm most excited about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it is a different vibe than just someone narrating or someone dictating to you. Like a monologue comes across so differently as like eavesdropping into a dialogue, like hearing two different back and forths. One thing that I'm not a huge fan of, now it does make it sound good, but just it takes away from the realism, is how perfectly in sync they are. Like they'll finish each other's sentences, there's no gap or anything, and we know better than anyone that it's so hard to get that timing down in a podcast. So it definitely still has a lot of AI vibe to it, which I'm not opposed to. Like, you know what you're listening to. But it's so early days. Like it's going to get to the point where you're probably going to be able to put your own voice on there, tweak it to have more humor or even the type of humor. So interested to see where it's going to go.
Excited for throwing just a ton of content into something like that too, because I know you can just put a single paper, but I think you can also put like a mountain of content into it and then have it surface just only the very important things, which I think is super cool, because I wish I could put my entire Twitter feed into that and just tell me the things that are important, because man, Twitter is a fire hose of content right now. And with all these launches in the last week and things too, it's been crazy to keep up with.
Yeah, it's such a crazy week. You know what we should do though? You can put YouTube videos in it as well. We should upload our videos with like the resources we study ahead of time and have a 10-minute summary of the Tool Use episode, and then just like throw that up somewhere. Because I'm sure people will be like, do I want to commit to a 40-minute episode or maybe just the 10-minute summary? You know, give people the option to do both.
Here's an idea. How about one of these episodes we do we have a very structured, defined way of the way the episode will go and what we'll cover and what we're going to use in our raw materials. We'll do a podcast, and then we'll have NotebookLM do a podcast, and then we can have our viewers decide who did it better.
I like it. We got this one in the bag, but you know, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Yeah. So speaking of all the crazy stuff about Twitter, Ty, what was your favorite thing this week? What did you see that you just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of?
If you all haven't seen the computer use from Claude, then you're missing out. I mean, computer use is kind of near and dear to us because we've been working on computer use at Open Interpreter for a long time, and the way that Claude's doing it's very interesting. And I think obviously it has, wide sweeping implications. Like if you can control a computer with an AI, like that, there'll be a lot of really interesting things that come out of this. And so if you haven't heard of it, you definitely should hear of it and definitely go take a look at it. But what's really interesting, I think, about the Claude Computer Use thing is how it's a new model and it is a tool, but to some degree, this new model's been trained around it. It really understands how to use this tool in a way that's pretty interesting. It has a really small system prompt for it, and it's very clean, and it works very well. So I'm really excited to see kind of where it heads. But yeah, I mean, what did you think of it?
I love it. And well, obviously biased with Open Interpreter, as the models get more powerful with computer usage, so does our service. So it's a big level up for us. It is not the competitor people made it out to be. It's definitely an augmentation. There's a few conspiracy theories floating around that I thought were interesting. The fact that they didn't rename it, not even Claude or Sonnet 3.6, like it's still 3.5 Sonnet new, was very peculiar. Maybe they just took the existing model and retrained on a whole new data set. I have no idea. I really wish Anthropic was more open. They are the leaders in the space. Like they continually pass OpenAI. It's just they're not doing enough, in my mind, to just like spread the transparency and be able to help educate the ecosystem. Because this very well could just be a new model that they went through the paces because they wanted to get to computer control, and getting Sonnet there was going to be faster than Opus, but more capable than Haiku. But yeah, I don't know. It's really tough to say, but I mean, I'm enjoying it. I've had good use so far. I did see though, before anyone gets too crazy with it, someone was operating a VM and it RMRF'd. For those that don't know, it just removed a bunch of stuff. So operate with caution. I've used the analogy, use it like a self-driving car. Your hands don't necessarily have to be on the steering wheel, but you have to have your eyes on the road and be like ready to act at any time, because some of these processes just get out of hand. And the last thing we want to see is someone using a tool like this and actually lose documents or photos that they're not going to get back. That being said, if you have it running on, say, a Raspberry Pi, you can actually have it doing things for you while you're doing other stuff on your computer. And I love the idea of being able to multitask. You just fire up your little screen on a Raspberry Pi and just be like, hey, I need you to research this one topic, go. And then it's operating, it's clicking around the internet. I saw someone was able to order lunch with it. Imagine you just had a Raspberry Pi, you're like, I'm feeling like some shawarma today. And then 20 minutes later, it knocks on your door. So yeah, I feel like we're entering a new age, which is super exciting. As long as people remember, it's still early days and capabilities are limited and used with caution.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all kind of unfolds because they're definitely like to some degree, like they're the first player in this space that is a large model company. And I mean, we all know how petty OpenAI is. I'm sure it won't be long until they release something similar. I mean, Sam Altman won't let them win for that long. I mean, I even saw a couple days ago, or was it yesterday, I think, the rumor that Orion, basically GPT-5, will drop by before December, which I think is really interesting. So I don't know. It's going to be a pretty busy space in the next couple weeks. I think I kind of have a little bit of a hypothesis too that they dropped it via API as a beta instead of launching it as a product, because it is inherently risky, it is inherently dangerous. And if they drop it as an API, they can see all the Twitter demos, they can see Pliny go and RMRF his whole machine and decide whether or not they want to launch it as like a consumer-facing thing. So I bet that's why they did it that way, rather than just launching as a consumer-based product first. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. It makes me think about all the ways that I'd actually want AI to use a computer for me. And there's a lot of really cool things it could do. So I really like the idea of, I mean, we've talked about this a lot of ambient agents and things that are just kind of working in the background, like you're saying on a Raspberry Pi. Like if I can just give it a list of tasks and just go cook on this until you're done, put it in an infinite loop, go click around, go, or do the truth terminal thing, go become a millionaire and figure it out. Like, I don't know how far that would take it, but I don't know. I'm really excited for it. The thing I'm more excited for than this new Sonnet model is the new Haiku model coming. That should be coming in the next couple weeks, they said. Like, the new Haiku model is going to be as cheap as the old Haiku model, just like pennies. Like, it's super cheap. And supposedly, we believe in benchmarks, but you're not supposed to, is more performant than the original Sonnet. So I'm excited to play with it, because if it's that good, man, we are entering the era of intelligence that's basically free to some degree. So like GPT-4o mini is incredibly cheap, but it's not nearly as capable as GPT-4o, and even GPT-4o, in my opinion, is not nearly as capable as Sonnet. So if Haiku is this cheap and better than Sonnet, I got like a ton of ideas to build on, because I'm excited for that.
Yeah, man. And I saw someone compare Llama 3.2 1B versus other 3B models. So it's just the proliferation of small models is exactly what I want to see. A well-orchestrated fleet of highly specialized models is going to surpass the mega ultra models eventually. So keep a chip in, Claude. Let's see what they got. There was one thing which I think we'll probably need to address at some point, where people burn through their tokens so quickly with this approach because of the screenshot heavy nature of it and just images naturally taking more tokens. Even Richard on our last episode talking about how there will be an addition to OpenAdapt where it'll take the HTML tree and feed that into context. We're going to have to explore UIs in general. How can we optimize user interfaces to be hybrid for consumption of from both humans and AI? Because we're such visual creatures, but visual cues come at the cost of like extreme detail. And can we have a model be able to intelligently route where it is, so it's just looking for like the buttons instead of like taking the screen as a whole? Like, a lot of development will need to take place there just to make this sustainable. There's still the make it work before making it fast. We have a lot more like efficiency gains to make, but it's working. Like, there's now a thing that can operate on its own based on commands. And it's funny because we keep moving the goalposts for like AGI, however you want to define it. Like the Turing test, we blew past that, and no one really talks about that anymore. Like, it's just an accepted reality that we have intelligence as an API call away, and now it's grown to being intelligence that can act. It's just an API call. Like, we're living in miraculous times.
We really are. It's kind of crazy how much intelligence there is out there, and it's like we have our community as a whole has an insatiable appetite for bigger, better, stronger models and quicker, faster, tiny models too. And so I don't know, I'm really excited to see what people do with it. And I think that's part of the beauty of Twitter. Like Twitter just showcases all of the different things you can do with these models. And I'm so glad that there's a community out there that is Twitter. Maybe there's a better platform for it, but I don't know. I enjoy Twitter, and there's a lot of builders out there that can make a demo using some of these technologies. And when I was at OpenAI Dev Day, one of the things Sam Altman said, he's like, one of his favorite things about the AI space is seeing how creative people can be with these models through Twitter. And so it's like, it's not just, you know, us builders sharing with each other. It's like, you make a demo on Twitter, even if you have 200 followers, and if it's clever and it's unique, then Sam Altman's seeing this stuff, you know, like everyone's seeing these things and seeing how this stuff works. So such an interesting place to be. I'm so happy that there's a community for sharing really creative ideas. But I'm getting sidetracked now. Really cool models. Check them out. Claude, keep shipping. I'm such a fan.
And if just to go back to the last point, if people are making demos, tag us. We want to see it. We want to know what's out there. But yeah, I saw this one tweet and it's like, people will have founder of a unicorn startup in their bio and it's actually them. Like, you're able to reach incredibly connected, powerful, influential people with just a good demo. That's all it takes. So keep building, keep shipping, make it happen.
I love it. And it's crazy the number of people you can just reach with a DM on Twitter. Like, you can DM some pretty powerful people on Twitter and they'll get back to you. Like, that's crazy, you know? Like, anywhere. It's wild.
Ty, as always, it's been so much fun talking to you. Now, we will get back to guests in November. It's always fun having these other builders on and interact with them, but I've missed this. I've missed just being able to chat and hang out, so glad we can pull this off. I really hope people install the pip package, pip install Tool Use AI. We have the command down below if you want to copy it, but we think it'll add a lot of value and really help expedite the way that you work with tools. So please check it out.
And please contact us through the little contact form. I spent some time on that, and I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you give some good feedback or request a topic, then we can even cover it next week in the episode or something. I would love to showcase some of your guys' responses. So, and thanks for always for listening to us, guys. Like, we've got some early adopters here that really like listening to us every week, and it means a ton to both of us. And so you give us life every week to keep this going. So thanks.
Yeah, it's so energizing. We really appreciate it. And we do have a few cool people on the docket, which I'm excited for. No spoilers, so you'll have to subscribe and check it out.
Oh, man, you keep it mysterious. I love it.
I love the suspense.
Well, good stuff, Mike. Thanks for chatting this week.
Absolutely, buddy. Have yourself a good one, and we'll do this again soon.
Sounds good. See you, man.
See ya.